Hey, Lucia.
I looked into Jayce's face. My date's face. How weird it was to be on a date. A double date, too. I would have never chosen a carnival for that. It's too loud and dense. So many people shuffling around. Neon lights blinding me every second. Not my idea of a date.
Hey, sorry. You looked like you were going to faint or something. I didn't mean to.
Oh, it's okay. Let's just catch up with the others. I kept walking, knowing Jayce would be right behind me. He was a nice person, a little shy and awkward, but it could be way worse. So I won't complain. When I had stopped earlier, we fell behind the rest of the group, Adrian and Hope. I scanned the crowd of moving people, slipping past groups of kids arguing over cotton candy. I caught sight of Hope's bouncy strawberry blonde ponytail up ahead, and of course, Adrian's dirty blonde curls a few inches above the ponytail. Even from this distance, past the darting kids and scattered families, I could see the way Adrian's curls lay against his neck. I could recreate the minutiae of everything Adrian in my mind. This wasn't a good thing. Adrian is my friend, not my boyfriend. He was with Hope. And now, thanks to him and his bizarre matchmaking efforts, I ended up with Jayce.
No, I really shouldn't.
Adrian was stepping up to buy a funnel cake when he turned and saw us.
There you two are. We thought we'd lost you. Guys want a funnel cake? I'm buying.
There he was, flashing his white, toothy grin. No thanks.
Sure.
Alright, next.
Hey, just 2 funnel cakes.
2 funnel cakes?
Yeah, thanks.
Yo, dudes!
I didn't bother turning around. I knew whose voice it was.
I had one of these funnel cakes last night. Eat at your own peril. I barfed mine up on the orbiter ride.
Joel and Wade. They focused more on school sports than anything else in the world. Yet again, they were repping our school's unfortunate purple and gold covered t-shirts with baggy jeans.
You must have decided to come at the last minute.
Joel had now crossed his arms and puffed his chest as usual, cocking his bushy sandy-haired head.
And you lost your phone, so you couldn't call and let us know. Think we're not welcomed?
Oh, sure we are. The more the merrier, right, Hope?
Wade winked at Hope. Him and Joel were insufferable. Hope was now hugging Adrian's arm tighter, and Wade just ran his fingers through his long brown hair, totally not hiding his true feelings. I kinda empathized with him, though. She didn't like him, but I could relate to how he felt. Wade, who thought he was the king of their class and all girls should treat him accordingly, had wanted to date Hope for years. He probably thought it was his right to date her. He was the celebrated quarterback of the football team, the head jock in the school, and Hope was the head cheerleader. Hope wasn't a stuck-up elitist like Wade was. She was actually very nice. And she was with 6'2" sculpted Adrian, the star of the school's basketball team. Adrian was the reason why my senior year was going a lot better than I thought it would when my parents and I had moved to town just before my last year of high school. Given that I was a straight-A student, a science and tech geek with an incongruous obsession with the supernatural, and not at all interested in looking and acting normal, I figured I was an outcast. But we happened to move right across the street from Adrian. He made me feel welcomed and included. I need to forget that I even have a chance now.
Order up.
Here's yours, Jayce.
Hey, Hope. Are you really eating fried bread? Shame on you.
Nick walked up behind the group, bumping Hope good-naturedly. I liked Nick. He was a kind, honest person. He was a part of the cheerleading squad with Hope, so they got along well.
I guess you'll have to join me for a couple extra laps in the morning. I'll have to work this off.
Only if you share.
A tall, slender girl, who looked as if she wanted to be invisible, trailed behind Nick.
Oh, hey, Cal. I didn't know you guys were coming here tonight.
Kelly shrugged, looking around at the group, then back at her feet.
Take as much as you want. You want some, Cal?
Kelly shook her head, toying with her single strand of braided brown hair. Poor Kelly. She was so excruciatingly shy when she was in groups. She was Hope's best friend, or one of them. Hope was close friends with Nick too. And she was a nice girl, bright and funny. Kelly wasn't a cheerleader. Apparently, she and Hope had been friends since they were in kindergarten together. I had overheard Kelly when she thought she was alone with Hope or Nick. Kelly had a lot of interesting things to say because she genuinely liked to study and she read all the time. Pretty, with exotically slanted hazel eyes and soft freckled features, Kelly dressed well, if you were into current fashions. Tonight she wore ankle-hugging olive pants with a cropped tank top that revealed her flat stomach. I wondered what had happened to Kelly to steal her self-confidence.
Kelly and I just gorged on some corn dogs, popcorn, and milkshakes.
Nick was still eating bits of Hope's funnel cake. He opened his wide mouth and popped in the bite. The sugar that remained on his lower lip made him look like a little boy, but then again, his soft, smooth features always gave him a boyish look. Green-eyed, ginger-haired Nick was cute in a kid-next-door kind of way.
And you're still eating.
But of course, my muscles need fuel.
He stuck a corny bodybuilder pose. I couldn't help but smirk as an elbow nudged me. Oh yeah, my date. Jayce was offering me a piece of the funnel cake, but I forced a smile and shook my head. Didn't look appetizing in the least.
So, now what?
We've been on all the rides and played most of the games.
She was still stuck to Adrian's arm.
We had to walk back to his truck to leave all the prizes he won for me.
I won a bunch of stuff last night, so I didn't even bother to play tonight. Joel and I just wanted to go on the rides again.
As if. If Wade won anything, it was probably one of those little rubber duck prizes. How did I get here? I don't even like carnivals. That's right. Adrian said he'd arrange a double date for tonight. He was being nice. Saying no would have been rude. And it wasn't like I didn't like Jayce. He's a nice guy too. Jayce was Adrian's unlikely best friend. Unlikely because Jayce was the antithesis of a jock. About 5'6" and skinny, Jayce looked more like a consummate nerd. He had thick black hair that was never properly combed, equally thick black-rimmed round glasses that he constantly had to push back up on his nose. He looked like he was the male version of me, a science nerd. But he wasn't all that bright. He was more creative than intelligent. Jayce was an artist, a pretty brilliant one actually. He could draw and paint the most amazing portraits. He'd done one of me that had made me look downright pretty. With Jayce's artistic talents to help, I wouldn't have described myself as pretty. I'd always thought my face was too thin and angular to be attractive. I also have odd features. One eye was much bigger than the other, my nose was slightly crooked, and my mouth was too wide for my face. All this was part of a head I thought was too big for my 5'2" frame, accentuated by my wild, kinky black curls, which I could never fully contain, but don't have the heart to chop off. My late grandmother had loved my afro-like hair, so I let my hair radiate from my head like a black nimbus in honor of my beloved Nana. My clothes were a tribute to my Nana, too. I have a closet full of woven vests in a variety of colors and patterns, all handcrafted by Nana. I pair these vests with men's black shirts, ankle-length skirts, and hiking boots. Even under the protection of Adrian's friendship, my wardrobe raised eyebrows on a regular basis.
Hey, watch where you're going.
The kid, who looked 10 or so, stuck out his pizza sauce-covered tongue at Wade and ran off. Wade looked like he was about to give chase if Joel didn't grab his arm.
Well, since everyone here is lame, I've got a great idea.
He had turned and pointed out past the roller coaster toward a large dome-shaped skeleton of a building.
Why don't we head over there and look around?
The sight of the half-built pizzeria made me shiver. The town had been buzzing about the massive entertainment center for months, ever since Fazbear Enterprises announced its intention to create a Coliseum-sized arena filled with games, rides, restaurants, and stages that would feature all the Fazbear animatronic characters. I'd read stories about the old Freddy Fazbear pizzerias. There were rumors, dark ones. I'd even heard that the pizzeria was being built over the top of one of those pizzerias with a checkered past.
And why will we go over there? It's just a construction site.
Yeah, but a good one. I've checked it out a couple times. Now I hear they've already started bringing in animatronics.
This was already a red flag for me. I'm not going anywhere off limits, especially if it's still in construction and not stable. But I have to admit, the idea of finding an animatronic interested me.
Maybe we can find one and get it to turn on or something.
Maybe we'll get arrested and go to jail.
Joel turned his gaze from the dimly lit construction site to Jayce.
You a scaredy cat? Runt.
Uh-oh. Adrian held his hand up against the side of Joel's chest.
Joel, knock it off.
But Jayce was stepping forward, slightly pushing his glasses higher.
No, it's okay, Adrian. I'm not scared to go in.
Wanna bet, huh?
Joel poked Jayce in the chest.
I bet if we go over there and we find one of those animatronics, you'll pee your pants.
They were standing 2 feet apart, silently staring at one another.
I don't know if going over there is such a good idea. I heard something weird happen not that long ago. Something hush-hush.
I think I do recall something about that. I heard my parents talk about some construction accident as it was being built, saying a couple workers weren't being safe and ended up getting really hurt. Nothing out of the ordinary, though. I'm not sure what Nick heard. Whatever it was, though, I was having second thoughts about it.
Great, a mystery. Let's just pretend like we're Scooby and the gang and go solve it. Come on, dudes.
I was about to open my mouth to tell them I wanted out, but Kelly, a big shock, spoke up.
I like mysteries. I just read a book on urban exploration. It would be cool to poke around an old site.
Ah, she speaks. That's the spirit.
I'm in.
Oh, great. I hope he isn't forcing himself to do something he doesn't want for me. To impress me. I took his hand and leaned over to his ear.
You don't have to prove anything.
He stood, stuck on my words, before replying.
Yes, I do. If you don't stand up to them, they end up pounding you down.
But Adrian won't let that happen.
Adrian isn't always going to be around to fight my battles.
Are you sure, Jayce?
It seems like Adrian overheard our conversation.
We can just leave.
Jayce seemed as if he already made up his mind as he nodded.
I'm sure.
Adrian watched Jayce for a moment before looking down at Hope.
What do you say? You want to go over there? It's okay if you don't.
Hope's eyes moved from Joel to Jayce. Hope wasn't stupid. She understood the dynamic at play. She nodded at Adrian, then looked at Kelly.
Kel, are you sure you want to go?
It could be fun.
Kelly had her braid wrapped tightly around her finger and seemed flushed. Her voice was barely audible whenever she spoke.
Then come on. Let's blow this carnival and go actually have fun.
He threw his arm over Wade's shoulder and pulled him along as they walked further away from the carnival. I could see Nick eyeing Hope and Adrian. He was biting his cheek as if in deep thought.
Your call.
Let's go.
He hadn't even asked me what I wanted. Should I just call it a night and head home? I shrugged. No. The curiosity for the animatronics were pulling me towards them. I couldn't help myself and followed the group away from the carnival towards the skeleton of the building.
The Mimic Epilogues. Originally written by Scott Cawthon, Parra and Andrea Waggener. Adapted for audio drama by Dizzyfly FM. Episode 1.
The Pizzaplex construction site waited, still and silent, in the mottled shadows cast between periodically spaced security lights. Surrounded by a 12-foot chain-link fence that was plastered with "Danger, do not enter" signs, the construction site looked, at first glance, to be out of reach.
Oh, here. There's some loose fencing down this way.
It had taken just 10 minutes for us to walk from the carnival to the construction site. But it took another 10 to circumnavigate the unfinished dome structure because the fencing was set 100 yards or so beyond the edges of the building itself. From within the fence, I could see hulking shapes of a couple dump trucks and excavators. A crane's boom extended towards the metal skeleton of the unfinished dome. It looked like a giant robotic arm was reaching out, searching for a connection. If I listened very, very closely, blocking the other out, I could still hear the carnival, but it was strangely muted, as if the construction site acted as a sound dampener. I couldn't smell the carnival aromas. Only the arid smell of the earth and a sharp whiff of gasoline. If I was any deeper in my own head, I would have walked straight into Jayce. The whole group stopped and were waiting on Joel at the fence.
All right. Come on.
As I squeezed through, a sharp chain link edge scraped against the back of my wrist. I couldn't see the cut, but warmth trickling down the back of my hand let me know the skin was broken, though not seriously. I pulled down the sleeve of my black shirt to staunch the flow. Nick was the last through and let the fence fall back into place.
You sure there are no dogs?
Nah, man. I've been all over the site. No dogs, no guards.
Joel just shook his head and waved his arm towards the pizzeria.
There are some security cameras over there, near the office trailer and the construction materials. But we don't need to get anywhere near them to see inside the dome.
He pointed to a spot about 100 feet away. No one spoke as Joel led the way past the steamroller to an opening between two half-finished cement walls.
There's an enclosure just past here. I think that's where the animatronics are being stored.
Thankfully, more security lights were set up within the unfinished structure. The metal floodlights didn't flood so much as they spurted in darkness here and there, but they provided enough visibility to get around, and enough visibility to reveal a flat red metal roof surrounded by the concrete floor the others and I now stood on.
Is that the roof of the old pizzeria?
I was still surprised to hear Kelly speak up, but looking deeper at her eyes, I could tell she was really excited. So excited that she'd apparently forgotten to be shy.
What pizzeria?
She was holding onto Adrian's hand very tightly. She obviously didn't want to be here, but she was trying to be a good sport. It's an old Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria site. I read about it. I think they're gonna turn it into a museum or something.
Look over there. There's a ramp that looks like it's heading down. Maybe towards the pizzeria's entrance.
Come on.
Joel's shadow stretched 12 feet ahead of him as he started toward the ramp Nick pointed out.
I never noticed that when I was here before.
As we got closer to the ramp, we realized that the ramp led to nowhere. A couple feet down the ramp slope, it ended at a bulging mass of hardened concrete that swelled in a knobby mass from somewhere further down the slope.
Well, we're not getting in that way.
He was turning to walk away.
That's the worst concrete pour I've ever seen.
Adrian had walked down the slope a little bit and was poking out a clod of cement.
Oh man, maybe it was a spill.
Adrian was shaking his head now.
I don't know. It's just weird as all.
Hey, look!
We all turned and looked where Wade was pointing. Toward the far side of the flat red room was a large metal box.
Come on. I think I see a vent opening that might be big enough to get through.
Wade was trotting over the roof, kneeling down in front of a square metal protrusion. He gripped its edges, yanked, and it easily came free. So easily, he lost his balance and landed on his butt. I heard Jayce chuckle, and Joel glared at him. Wade didn't seem to care about Jayce's amusement. He immediately got to his knees and grabbed the steel vent grating that the metal square had concealed. It didn't come free easily, but when Wade jiggled it back and forth several times, it groaned and grumbled, and finally, with a loud snap, let go of the roof. Beneath the grate, a narrow, dark chute led downward. Wade quickly stuck his feet into the chute. Was he really going in there?
Ready for an adventure?
Yep, he was.
I'm not going down into that hole. We don't even know where it goes.
That's the fun of the mystery.
Atta girl.
Joel pulled a small flashlight out of his pocket. He shone it down the chute, and we all leaned forward to peer in. The light did not help much. It revealed a narrow metal enclosure slanting downward toward a bend that hid whatever lay beyond it.
Here, give that to me.
Wade took the flashlight from Joel.
All right, lead on. I'll be right behind you.
Wade slid feet first into the chute. Joel did the same right after. Within seconds, they both disappeared around the bend.
Oh, man. What? Whoa. Dude.
I rubbed the goosebumps on my arms, glancing around the Pizzaplex's vast darkened expanse.
You guys, need to get down here. This is insane.
Again, Kelly? She crouched down and quickly slid down the chute.
Kel?
I've got you. Great job, Kelly.
Kel? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
She didn't sound shy or quiet anymore.
It really is wicked down here. You gotta see this.
Hold on, Kelly. I'm coming.
I'd hate to leave Kelly down there alone with those two.
I agree. Let me go first. Whoa.
Welcome, dude.
Alright, Hope. You're good to come down now.
What do you do when 5 of your group of 8 have already charged into the breach? Do you retreat, looking like a total wuss? For Jayce and Nick, the answer was a resounding no. Me? I had to think a little harder, but not for long. Adrian was down there. Whoa!
Real smooth, you two.
Jayce did his best to catch me. His best wasn't great, unfortunately, and the two of us ended up tumbling across the floor together. We landed next to a stack of old, sagging cardboard boxes. My lawn skirt tangled around Jayce's shoulders. I quickly whipped it free and smoothed it over my legs. Nice one.
I think we're in the storage room. There's a hallway out here, and I'm pretty sure it leads to the dining room.
Jayce immediately popped to his feet, offered me his hand.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Even though his attempt didn't work, it was cute that he tried, and I couldn't help the smile lifting my cheeks. I suddenly realized how well I could see. Although the light that surrounded me was dim, it was adequate to reveal that the others and I were now in a red-walled room filled with old boxes. We had to be in a Freddy Fazbear's pizzeria. Even in the shadows, I could see the infamous black and white checkered floor. I could also see piles of metal endoskeleton parts. Mounds of robotic arms and legs and torsos and skulls were strewn throughout the space, along with the boxes.
I'm surprised there are even lights down here.
She was brushing a smudge of dirt off her pale yellow blouse she wore with her tight jeans.
They must have piggybacked the power from the Pizzaplex construction lights.
Hey, come on. Kelly's right. The dining room's down there.
Within seconds, we stepped into a big room filled with more endoskeleton parts. These were scattered among broken tables and chairs and a few brightly colored plastic plates and purple striped tablecloths. Ugh, what's that smell?
Ew.
The odor had hit me the minute I landed on the floor in the storage room, and I hadn't thought much about it. You'd expect an old buried restaurant to smell dank and musty, but now the stench seemed to be getting stronger.
It smells like something dead. Maybe a rat?
What happened down here? Why are all these robotics parks all over?
Jayce was poking around as he picked up parts and shifted them.
Maybe they're using the place as a storage area until they get the rest of the Pizzaplex built.
Yeah, but why are they storing old broken robotic parts? Clearly curious too, Adrian began looking around. Hope hugged herself and pressed back against the edge of a small semicircular stage, which was next to a long rectangular one. The small stage would have been Foxy's stage. The animatronic fox had been a fixture in the old Freddy Fazbear pizzerias. I left Hope and joined the others. Jayce had pulled out his small sketch pad and was drawing a robotic skull. The rest of the group was trapezing through the robotic rubble, shifting a metal arm here, a metal leg there. My gaze shifted from part to part to part. The heads were the most unsettling parts. Their dead eyes. I stopped and stared. The head I was looking at wasn't made of metal. It wasn't an animatronic head. It was...
Lucia? What?
I was so chilled I felt like I'd stepped into a freezer, lifting a shaking finger. I pointed at the head that was still lying on its side, its clouded eyes staring. I opened my mouth, but I couldn't get a word out. Jayce looked in the direction of my finger. He frowned and stepped toward the head, shoving his sketch pad back in his pocket. Is that some kind of prop? He leaned over and touched the head.
Ah!
At the same time, Kelly let out a scream.
Kelly? What's wrong?
Hope?
What? What is it?
What's going on? Oh, man.
Oh, God.
We finally reached the others. Reluctantly, I looked in the direction of their gazes. My stomach flipped over again. Piled together in a macabre pyramid, a gruesome tangle of human limbs, torsos, and heads were rotting next to a snarl of ragged metal endoskeleton parts. I unconsciously did an inventory of the parts. At least 11 bodies were lumped together, in pieces. My brain, against my will, took in the details. The severed heads and dismembered arms and legs hadn't been cut away from the limbless torsos. The ends of the exposed bones were jagged. They'd been snapped, not sawed through. Torn tissue and mangled veins revealed the same thing. These bodies had been wrenched apart. What could do that? Unable to look away from the savagery, I noticed dark, rust-colored stains sprayed across the floor and walls. Dried blood was everywhere, even spotting the metal robotic parts. Adrian seemed to have recovered first, pulling Hope back by her hand.
We need to get out of here.
No one argued with him. When Adrian turned, we followed him. We all ran back across the dining room, pounding into the hallway and scrambling past the boxes in the storage room. There, however, we all stopped.
What the hell?
No.
The bottom of the chute was no longer open. The metal had collapsed, crushed together as if crimped by a giant hand. Our escape route was blocked.
There has to be another way out. Come on.
Adrian led us down the hallway away from the dining room. The hallway ended at an exit door, but the door was engulfed in cement blocks and more robotic parts.
Here, help me.
He squatted next to a cement block. Him and the other guys tried to lift it. It wouldn't budge.
Okay. There have to be other doors, windows, something.
And there were other doors and windows, but they were all blocked. Some were actually cemented closed. Nothing would open, nothing would give way, no matter how much effort the guys put into it. And a search of the entire restaurant didn't reveal any other vertical chutes. It also didn't reveal any tools that would have helped them pry apart the closed-off chute. Adrian suggested they use robotic arms to try and peel back the metal blocking their egress, but his idea didn't work. We were trapped. By now, we were all dirty and sweaty and breathing heavily. I hadn't stopped shaking since I'd seen the first head. Adrian had his arm around Hope.
Don't worry. When the construction crew returns in the morning, we'll hear them. We can bang on the metal and they're sure to hear us. They'll get us out.
Hope gave Adrian a little hesitant nod that bellied her name. Trailing behind the couple, I wished Adrian would put his arm around me too. Maybe reading, or misreading, my thoughts, Jayce sidled close and took my hand. I didn't protest. About halfway down the hallway, Adrian stopped.
Listen.
We all clustered around him. As soon as our footsteps ceased, we heard it.
What is that?
Adrian was deep in thought now, his lips together the way he always did when he was thinking deeply. He didn't whisper, but he kept his voice low.
Come on, let's go check it out. Sounds like it might be a vent cover, maybe a ventilation system. Might be a way out.
The desire for the sound to lead to a way out was stronger than my intuition that the sound wasn't anything but benign as a ventilation system. I listened hard. The others must have been listening hard too, because when the sound changed, we all stopped as one. I held my breath. It was getting closer. Adrian grabbed Hope's hand and started running back down the hall towards the storage room. Hope went along without question. So did everyone else. As soon as we were all through the door, Adrian closed the door quietly and locked it.
What if it's someone coming to help us?
The very fact that he whispered revealed the doubt behind his words. Nobody answered. Clearly, everyone was realizing what I had known as soon as we heard the first creak. We weren't down here alone.
This has been the Mimic Epilogues, starring Hannah Willhouse as Lucia, Darth Academus as Jayce, Abigail Kim as Hope, Sapphire Speaks as Adrian, Kenoop as Kelly, Brexle as Nick, Evapilot as Wade, and DaeXWhisper as Joel. Additional voices and music by Sambo. Thank you all so much for listening to the first episode. I want to thank my incredible cast and how they really fit each character perfectly. I could not ask for a better team. I will leave everyone's information in the description below. I definitely recommend anybody who has a project of their own to check them out. Another thanks to Sambo for his beautiful music. If you're interested in more stories by DaeXWhisper FM, click the like and subscribe to support these projects. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in episode 2.